Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kana and this is Jar of Fireflies. Here I make videos all about my life as an Orthodox Jewish homeschooling mother of 4. And today we are cleaning my kitchen. Yes, that's right, folks. As you could tell by the intro there, my kitchen needs a good cleaning. Last night we hosted a big party. It's called a Sheva Brachot, and I will explain all of that here in just a moment while we are cleaning. But before we do, I want to give a big thank you to today's sponsor, Blueland. Blueland products are everything that I want in a cleaning product. They are effective, convenient, affordable, and made from clean ingredients. Another reason that I love Blueland is that there is no single-use plastic in any component. From bottles, tablets, and wrappers to shipping, let me show you. I got the Clean Essentials kit, which contains forever bottles and tablets for multi-surface cleaner, foaming hand soap, bathroom cleaner, and glass and mirror cleaner. To use, I just fill my forever bottle with warm to hot water, drop a tablet into the bottle, and then put the nozzle on after the tablet fully dissolves. Within minutes, it's ready to use. No shaking or stirring needed. As a mom, I want to make sure my cleaning products are safe. Blueland's products are EPA Safer Choice certified. This means EPA scientists have evaluated every single ingredient in the product to make sure that it meets the stringent criteria, so I can have peace of mind using this in our home. Blueland products are also affordable, which y'all know I love. They start at just $2 or $1.55 if you buy in bulk, which really adds up over time to make a difference in my budget. All right, so now you're wondering where you can get your kit. All you have to do is click on the link that I have posted for you in the description box or in my pinned comment below for 15% off your first order. Blueland is sharing this special offer just for you, my lovely viewers, so go grab your kit before they sell out again. All right, now let's get back to cleaning. Okay, so like I mentioned a little bit earlier in the video here, I am cleaning up after a big party. This party was called a Sheva Brachot. So the Sheva Brachot translates to 7 blessings, and it's referring to both the 7 blessings recited over wine during the wedding ceremony, and then also the following festive meals for the next 7 days for the bride and groom. So we went to a wedding last week, and then there are 7 days of meals after the wedding. Well, I guess 6 when you include the wedding meal. So including the wedding meal, there are 7 of these festive meals where they again recite these 7 blessings for the bride and the groom. Last night, my husband and I hosted one of these meals at our home. Now, for these meals, you do need to have a minyan presence. That means 10 men. So we had 10 men there, plus there were wives, there were a few kids, there were relatives of the bride and the groom, and overall there were about 25 people at our house for dinner. We had so much fun preparing the food, enjoying these meals with the bride and groom and their families, and our family and our friends. It was just so much fun overall, but a big mess now that we are done. If you would like to see pictures of the table set up and some of the food, I didn't get pictures of everything, but some of it, you can pop over to my Instagram at jar_of_fireflies. It's also listed in the description box for this video, and you can see those pictures over there. Okay, so back to what a Sheva Brachot meal is. So this tradition goes back to biblical times where they would celebrate a wedding for an entire week. So we are still doing that here in modern times, and I think that is just fantastic. So this week right after the wedding is also sometimes called the Sheva Brachot week, and during this week you have these meals generally at different people's houses throughout the week. And there's different guest lists for the different meals. Oftentimes family is there at all of them, or at least at some of them, but even family that lives in the area doesn't necessarily go to everyone because it's a lot of meals. So Sheva Brachot meals are not mandatory. It's not required by Jewish law. It's really more tradition, but it's extremely common, and it'd probably be a little strange if you didn't have them. So nowadays, newlyweds generally have these every day for the first week. So the Sheva Brachot meals are traditionally held by family or close friends, and it's not at all uncommon to have multiple family members or families, friends, whatever, collaborating together to host a Sheva Brachot meal, because it is a big deal, because you can easily have a guest list of, like I said, like around 25 people. During the Sheva Brachot meal, there's of course just visiting in general, but then there's usually some words of Torah and some singing. And then after the meal is over, we say the Sheva Brachot blessings, the 7 blessings. These are said after the grace after meals, and individual guests are invited to take a cup of wine and recite a blessing of the Sheva Brachot. As I said earlier, you must have 10 men there, 10 adult Jewish men, so bar mitzvah age or older, and we call that a minyan, and that must be present in order to recite the Sheva Brachot. So it's really important to think of that when you're creating your guest list. And another important consideration to take into account when creating your guest list is we need to make sure that there is at least one new face who's there, at least one person who was not at the wedding or any of the other Sheva Brachot meals. So when we were planning our meal, we were going over the guest list with the bride and groom because they still had a lot of family in town for the meal that we were hosting. And then we had to fill in with a few extra community members so that we had that minyan was there, the 10 adult Jewish men. And then I coordinated with another family in the neighborhood who was also hosting one of the Sheva Brachot meals for the same couple to make sure that we didn't both invite the same new face, the same person who had not been to the wedding or any of the other Sheva Brachot meals. The meal itself, my husband did the cooking for the main part of the meal. I handled desserts and challah and the salad, which the salad was just some mixed greens and salad dressing. That was really not too complicated. I stayed up really late one night earlier in the week to bake a lot of rolls so that every guest would have an individual roll for the meal. And then the morning of the Sheva Brachot meal, I prepared several desserts. So I did like a little mini dessert platter for everybody. So just on like a little dessert plate. They all had a mini cupcake with icing and sprinkles, a little brownie bite with chocolate icing and chocolate sprinkles and a little heart sprinkle on top. And then they had some strawberries and some blueberries and a little cup of chocolate mousse. Unfortunately, the chocolate mousse did not turn out very well. It was a bit watery. It never quite set, but well, we can't have it all. So anyhow, though, we started with the salad course, probably should be describing that first, which again was just the lettuce, and we did a strawberry vinaigrette dressing with that and the challah roll. And then for the second course that came out, my husband had made some barakas, one with chicken and dried fruit, and then another one with ground beef and I think some onions and spices and things like that. Both were incredibly delicious. And he served those on top of mashed potatoes with some kind of a mushroom thing that he had made that was quite tasty. Sorry, I'm bad at describing this. And then for the main course that came out, there was a slice of ribeye steak, some rice with I think it's called a tagine. It's like a fruit kind of compote made from figs and plums and dates, things like that on top of that, and then some roasted carrots. It was incredibly delicious. My husband told me later that he forgot the string beans, but nobody missed it, trust me. Everything was perfect. And yes, I am well aware of how lucky I am that my husband loves to cook so much. Okay, so during the meal, there was just a lot of talking and hanging out. There was some singing, and then several people said a Devar Torah and just said words about the couple, and it was really lovely. Our meal lasted probably until around 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night. And also before and after the meal, the men, because we had a minyan there, the men went ahead and did their evening davening before we started our meal, and they did the night davening after the meal was over. So that was our hosting a Sheva Brachot meal experience. And as you can see, the kitchen, I pretty much left until the morning. I tried to have the entire kitchen left for the morning, but the groom's brother really wanted to help clean up and was not really taking no for an answer. So everybody did pitch in a little bit the night before just to kind of get some things out of the kitchen and kind of scrape some plates and just a few little things like that. So it was really nice to have that head start for sure, because this was a lot that I had to clean up today, which is why the video is sped up. I'm sure that you can tell I'm not really this fast. I wish I was, but the video is definitely sped up because I filmed for quite a lot longer than this to get all of this cleaning done. By the way, I don't normally say bride and groom. We normally say chatan and kala. So chatan or chasan if you are Ashkenaz, but as a Sephardim, I say chatan. That is the word for groom in Hebrew. And then kala is the word for bride. And that's really pretty much the same. Maybe they say it just with a different pronunciation. And if you are Ashkenaz, I think they maybe say more like kala, but we say kala. So anyways, we call them a chatan and kala, and we will call them this for the entire first year of marriage. So they're basically kind of like newlyweds this whole first year. So it's kind of fun. We were actually invited out to go to another Sheva Brachot meal for this couple tonight. So after hosting one a couple of days ago, now we get to go out and just sit and enjoy one. And I'm very excited. It'll be a different experience of celebrating with the chatan and kala, with the bride and groom. Sure, it'll be a much more relaxing experience at the very least. I am nervous about what to wear tonight. I know that sounds really silly, but being in this kind of stage right after having had a baby, I don't have a whole lot of clothes that I'm super comfortable in right now still. And I have some things that are like very, very nice, maybe too nice for a Sheva Brachot meal, like the dress that I wore to the wedding. And then I have clothes that are like very casual, like what I wore during the week, you know, the kind of clothes that I'm wearing in this video or something. That's not really appropriate for a Sheva Brachot meal. A Sheva Brachot meal is usually a bit fancier. It's kind of a fancy affair. So you do want to dress nicely when you go to one. My husband will probably be wearing a suit or at least a very nice button-down shirt with slacks, and I don't know what I'm going to wear. I may end up wearing the dress that I wore to the wedding. That's okay. I'd rather be overdressed than underdressed for sure. Now, usually the Sheva Brachot meals are combined men and women seating, at least where I live. That's pretty traditional. We did have one when my husband and I got married where there was separate men and women's seating. I don't anticipate that being the case tonight. That was not the case with our Sheva Brachot meal that we hosted. We just let people sit kind of wherever they want, and that's usually what happens. Now, we did make sure that the chatan and kala were sitting together at the head of the table, and then their parents were sitting next to them, followed by any siblings that were present, and then friends of the bride and groom. My husband and I were sitting at the very far other end of the table because we wanted to be close to the kitchen, because we were popping up and plating food and serving things and all of that. I will say we did consider hiring someone to come in and help with clearing plates and that sort of thing, like basically hiring a waiter, but I felt that that was just a little bit silly when it was something we could do ourselves, and I'm glad that we did it this way and just kind of did it ourselves. People did hop up to lend a hand, and that was super helpful as well. Hosting the Sheva Brachot meal was a lot of work, but a lot of fun, and I was so happy that we were able to do something like that to bring more joy to the bride and groom, to the chatan and kala. And yeah, it was a really fun experience. This was the first Sheva Brachot meal that our family has ever hosted. I don't know if I said that earlier or not, but it's the first time that we have done this. So it was super exciting and fun, and we definitely went all out. We wanted it to be special for the bride and groom. It's a big mitzvah to make the bride and groom happy. Well, that's all I can really think of to say about the Sheva Brachot meal, both Sheva Brachot meals in general or the one that we hosted. Definitely a lot of work. And of course, as you can see, my work doesn't end because I am now cleaning up after everything. And that's totally okay because, like I said, we really enjoyed being able to do this. I was talking to my husband about it actually the other day, and we were just talking about like the work involved doing a Sheva Brachot meal, and where the bulk of my husband's work was done on the day of the Sheva Brachot with all of the cooking and the meal prep and all of that. And his work was like very intense and high pressure, and there was no time to make a mistake. Most of my work was done going into the day by staying up late, baking the bread, doing the prep work for the desserts, and making sure that the house was all very clean. And then my work, of course, continues after with all of the cleanup. This really was like a solid entire day of cleanup the next day. It was definitely a partnership, and neither one of us could have done this on our own for sure. Most of the cleanup that I had to do was, of course, cleaning the floor because breadcrumbs everywhere. I mean, did anybody even eat bread? My kids were eating in the kitchen, and I don't know, something with the breadcrumbs. The breadcrumbs ended up just getting absolutely everywhere. And then, just doing all of the dishes, loading, unloading the dishwasher, and just kind of throwing away all of the garbage and putting away things back in the pantry that needed to be put away. It was funny because when I was earlier cleaning up off the counter, I even found like bags of chocolate chips that I had asked my husband to buy for the chocolate mousse, and the extra ones that I didn't use that morning just stayed there the entire rest of the day and never got put away. We were both just so busy the entire day long. Even after I had baked my desserts in the morning that needed to be done that morning, I cleaned up the whole kitchen so it would be ready for my husband to just have a fresh start for his cooking and all of the things that he had to do. And then throughout the day while he was cooking, he would, if he had to leave to go to the store or anything like that, then I would, clean up everything that I could in the kitchen while he was gone, just to get him some more working space. Because as we know by now, my husband is not the greatest cleaner, but he is a great cook. But it's a good trade. I consider it a very fair trade that he cooks and I clean. I love it. So I also did take a trip to the grocery store that morning as well. We realized we needed a certain kind of wine that the Collab, the bride, really enjoyed. So I wanted to make sure that I picked up some of that. And then my husband had gone to the store even earlier in the morning to look for a few things that I needed and that he needed, but he couldn't find one of the things that I needed. I wanted really nice strawberries to put onto the dessert plates, and he said when he went to the store, the strawberries all did not look very good. So I went out to the store and was able to find some nice strawberries and then a few other things that we needed, like lemons, and it's just, how it is. You just remember things all the time. Well, this kitchen is really starting to shape up. Such a good feeling after the giant mess that I had woken up to. I do not like to wake up to a messy kitchen. I like to put the kitchen to bed before I go to bed, and that way I wake up to a nice clean kitchen. When I say put the kitchen to bed, it's like a phrase that I picked up from a podcast that I like to listen to, and they talk about putting the kitchen to bed so that you wake up with your clean kitchen, and I think it's just the greatest idea. So it's something I try to do. It really helps a lot. Okay, almost finished now. I'm just going to dry these dishes and put them away. I just ran the vacuum around again super quickly one more time because of all the stuff that fell off the counters. But as y'all saw from the beginning, I definitely needed to vacuum before I even got started. So once I get these dishes put away, I should be almost done. I do still need to switch out the chairs. I think you noticed our dining room chairs were there at the kitchen table to start with. And that's because with so many people coming to the meal, those chairs being a little bit wider than a lot of our other chairs, we couldn't fit those around the table and still fit 25 people. So we pulled in a second table to go with the regular table. And I had to use these less wide chairs around the table as well as some folding chairs. And I fit a few of these blue chairs where they would fit in the dining room for the Sheva Brachot meal last night. And as a final touch, I'm just moving these candles back in because we had used these candles last night as part of the centerpiece for the Sheva Brachot meal. And I'm done! I cannot even tell you how good it feels to have the kitchen this clean, especially after really a few days of the kitchen being super duper messy. We should be able to hold this up for a while, so I am pretty stoked about that. Okay, there is still this pile of dishes in the sink. However, I'm saving all of those for when the dishwasher is done. I will pile those in and not have to hand wash anymore. So the kitchen is still stunning. I'm so thrilled. I love it. So that's the end of today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, I super appreciate it. Be sure to check out the link that I posted in the pinned comment and in the description box below so that you can get 15% off of your first order with Blueland. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. I would super duper appreciate it. Drop me a comment down below and let me know how much you love a clean kitchen. All right, and with that, we're calling this a close. Thank you all so much for being here. As always, have a super fabulous rest of your day, and I will see you in my next upload. Be sure to check out the link that I posted in my pinned comment and in the description. Be sure to check out the